There I am. Magnificent, beautiful, handsome man. Handsome older man. That's what a lot of people have been saying about me. The NHL is back. Teams took to the ice Monday for the start of training camps, a part of Phase 3 of the NHL's return to play. Big news out of Pittsburgh, though. The Pens will voluntarily sit out 9 players to start camp because of potential secondary exposure to someone that tested positive for COVID-19.
It'll be an important time here the next few weeks. To make sure we're doing our best to stay out of trouble that way. But I think, we're getting tested here every second day, I think it is. So everyone's on top of it and making sure that, we're social distancing and all that stuff. So, we're doing everything we can to avoid it. And, hopefully that's able to be a success and we can get to the bubble healthy.
In Toronto Maple Leafs camp, and by the way, what do you think of this new haircut, right? It's pretty solid. In Toronto Maple Leafs camp on Monday, the biggest news was Austin Matthews confirming Steve Simmons' report from, a couple of weeks ago that he did contract COVID-19 while in Arizona. We get more from Leafs reporter Mark Masters.
Austin Matthews skated alongside William Nylander and Zach Hyman at Monday's practice. That's the same line he was on before the pandemic pause. But when it comes to conditioning, Matthews is behind his teammates right now. The COVID-19 scare has passed, but the positive test did impact his ability to prepare for training camp.
Obviously not as much time, and for certain guys, obviously like myself, a couple weeks of not really being able to do much. So, kind of out of the norm of, typical training camp where you're kind of going in there feeling good. And so it's going to be a little bit different, but it didn't really hinder my training. I was able to kind of do stuff at home. Obviously wasn't able to leave or skate or anything. So I think, that's kind of really the only thing that kind of took a hit for me was I was skating beforehand and having to take, 2.5, 3 weeks off the ice. That obviously kind of catches up to you.
Those guys that have been here the entire time, I think certainly are at a higher level. And it's up to everyone else to continue to work and us support them in the cause of getting up to speed to get to that level. We have time to do that. But all considered, Austin's worked hard and he's done what he could given his circumstances. And it won't be long before the conditioning matches up with his ability.
Pretty much asymptomatic, felt for the most part pretty normal for the 2 weeks, but obviously I did my quarantine and, feeling healthy now, so it's all good. To be honest, I can't really pinpoint when and where I got it. But, as far as the second question goes, I think everybody's experience will probably, be different than my own. So, as far as COVID goes and stuff like that and symptoms, it's hard to kind of pinpoint the norm because it's different for everybody.
It's NHL policy not to identify those who test positive for COVID-19. There's a premium being placed on player privacy. So moving forward, if a player misses a practice or a game for any reason, he will simply be deemed unfit to play. And sure enough, on day 1 of Leafs camp, defenseman Timothy Liljegren was absent. And according to head coach Sheldon Keefe, he was, quote, unfit to play. Mark Masters, TSN, Toronto.
We saw the Toronto Raptors when they arrived in the bubble in Florida had Black Lives Matter on the side of their buses. The Maple Leafs also wore Black Lives Matter t-shirts to their practice facility on Monday. And with camps opening across North America, NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman was a guest on CNN Monday afternoon. He spoke about the league's coronavirus protocols.
We've had thousands of tests administered, and at least in the inception of getting everybody back, we anticipated there would be some number of positive tests, which is why we're moving slowly and cautiously. But we believe as we go through this screening process and we actually get to our 2 bubbles in places that don't have a lot of COVID-19, we should be okay. Not only do we want to make sure that we're COVID-free, to the extent possible, a lot of our players haven't skated in months, which is the longest they haven't skated since they were children, and we just want to make sure that they're in game-ready shape. Having them in training camp, testing extensively, isolating where appropriately, we think we can get to the point where it'll be safe to bring everybody to the bubble. We don't want to do anything that compromises health and safety. And as everybody in all the leagues have acknowledged, this isn't without its risks.
Russell Westbrook of the Houston Rockets has tested positive for COVID-19. In an Instagram post, Westbrook said he's currently in quarantine after testing positive prior to traveling to the bubble in Orlando. Once he tests negative, he'll be cleared to travel to Orlando, but he'll have to self-isolate in his hotel room for 48 hours before he joins his teammates for on-the-court workouts. Meanwhile, the MLS is back, baby. But it took a while for TFC to finally hit the pitch. You may remember it took them a little extra time to get to the bubble in Orlando, so their first game was postponed. Then their first game was postponed again on Saturday after a couple of positive COVID tests. And finally, they were able to play that first game on Monday against DC United. And we have the highlights for you, ladies and gentlemen. And they look a little bit like this. Jozy Altidore not in the lineup due to a lack of match fitness. So Ayo Akinola replaces him up top, his third career MLS start. And the 20-year-old wasted little time.
The lack of fitness, and then chances occur. Pozuelo in for Akinola. It's Ayo Akinola! What a start for TFC! And it's Ayo Akinola with the goal. Greg Vanney's side. Return with a bang.
Akinola, born in Detroit, grew up in Brampton, Ontario, which is famously the home of producer Tim, gives TFC the early lead. Before the half, Alejandro Pozuelo picks the pocket of the DC defender, spots Akinola, second of the game. It's a gift for TFC. 2-0 Reds. TFC in cruise control for much of this match, but in the 84th, DC United, Federico Higuain, sensational stuff by the 35-year-old. It is now 2-1 into stoppage time. TFC was clinging to that one-goal lead.
Put it into the box is not what they want. Played in towards Birnbaum there, who got ahead to it, and then DC have the goal from Brion! Out of nowhere, DC United tied up in stoppage time, a game that Toronto FC had in the bag.
Nightmare for Toronto. DC United down a man, tie it up at 2, and then in the dying seconds, Akinola does get his head to it, but Bill Hamid just gets a hand on it, denies Akinola the hat trick. And as the final whistle sounds, tempers flaring between both sides as TFC settles for a somewhat disappointing draw. Michael Bradley obviously pretty upset. Here's Greg Vanney.
As a group, we shut it down before it was over. And every team in this league is capable of something. And so, you know, they're obviously dangerous in the set pieces. And I thought we lost control of just the possession, started getting casual, lazy, making bad mistakes. And yeah, at the end, it cost you.
Over the last few days, from their side, we've gotten a real sense that now, like, they're all pissed off and angry with the fact that now we showed up late, almost feeling like we're trying to cheat the system or get a leg up on everybody. And that obviously couldn't be further from the truth. We're in the middle of a pandemic.
TFC's next game is against Montreal Thursday on TSN. You got the all-Canadian matchup. You're going to see it right here, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The other big news from the world of sports on Monday, the Washington NFL Football Club made it official. They will no longer use the nickname Redskins going forward after pressure from sponsors, including FedEx, who sponsors their field. They will, however, apparently maintain their colors going forward, but they're still deciding on a name. When we return, we'll check in on all the Canadian teams in training camp on Monday. This is Jay and Dan. You're watching Jay and Dan on TSN, brought to you by McDonald's. All the Canadian NHL teams were back on the ice Monday, except Ottawa, of course. They're not in it. But Edmonton Oilers were back on ice in their own barn, where they'll be playing all their games throughout this fascinating return-to-play format. Connor McDavid, after an offseason spent rehabbing a serious knee injury, he used the pause as an opportunity to improve his overall fitness with Mr. Gary Roberts.
I feel pretty good now. I guess coming back to training camp in September, I hadn't been on the ice a ton. I hadn't been able to work out a ton. So this break kind of allowed me to, maybe get my body back into shape where it needs to be. And I definitely feel good now.
He's been flying. He looks good. He feels good. Obviously he had a great year last year, but I think after this little break and some recovery, some time where he could actually really work on his fitness and stuff, I think he's, from talking to him, I think he's feeling even better. So, it's great. He looks so good.
I'm just trying to keep myself ready to go, working out in the gym, skating lots. I was able to find places to do all that. So, like I said, lots of unknowns, but I stayed ready and I always kind of thought that something would get done and we'd end up playing. So I still remain hopeful that we will, and obviously today's a big step towards that.
Boy, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins really looked like a matador, didn't he? Like he could be in a bullfight any second now. Hey, Max Domi, star player for the Montreal Canadiens. He's been on this show before talking about living and playing with diabetes. But the question is, will he be able to play? Because he's obviously a higher risk to get COVID than other players. John Liu has more on how the Habs are helping him navigate the situation.
It was fully expected that for at least the first week of training camp, Max Domi would not be in attendance. GM Marc Bergevin said team doctors had nothing to do with the decision for Domi to delay his potential arrival at training camp, adding that the team respected Domi's concerns about his health due to his type 1 diabetes and celiac disease. As for the rest of the team on hand, Bergevin is confident that the team and the league have taken the proper precautions to safeguard them.
We've been through protocol 1, 2, and 3, and obviously there'll be 4 are going above and beyond for the safety of the players. They did not make those decisions based only on them. They had expert looking at everything, and the term bubbles it's very protected. Again, there could be some outbreaks. It's always possible, but they went above and beyond, make sure everybody's okay and safe.
I think the bubble is going to be kind of a safe spot as far as what they've told us in the protocols, and I think that's why guys were so involved on these calls as well with the league. Is everyone was interested in knowing what the protocols are, what the safety is, what the risks are, and it just comes down to we're gonna have to trust each other at the end of this.
I know he's looking into the health risks, what the team, the league's gonna do to keep him safe, and whether or not he's gonna feel comfortable coming here. No matter what his decision is, we're going to support him as a teammate. This is a tremendously unique situation for everyone involved, and it's something that him, the doctor, his agent, everyone's going to have to look at closely.
Of the 33 players on the Canadiens training camp roster, 5 were absent on Monday. The aforementioned Domi, defenseman Alexander Romanov, who on Monday finalized his entry-level deal and is en route from Russia, and 3 defensemen, Brett Kulak, Josh Brook, and Xavier Ouellet, whose absences were described by the club as unable to practice. John Liu, TSN, Brossard, Quebec.
The Jets are also back in action Monday. The first group hit the ice at 7:45. A second group hit the ice at 9. Early times. Adjustments still likely to be made, but Winnipeg's top 3 lines started the same way as they ended when the season was paused.
We like a lot of the trends that we saw from February 1st on. Familiarity is very important to us. So we've got 2 lines that have played an extended amount of time with Kopp and Lowry, but with different right wingers. We've got the new line, which is a function of Cody Eakin being a new player for us. So we wanted to put we did pairings and lines wherever possible, where we thought we liked the line together. We put them together again, and that familiarity would be important.
You just want to, take each rep you get and try to make it count, and try to build towards the end of this camp. I think it's a couple weeks. I think towards when we get towards the middle of the time frame, we're going to be able to ramp it up a little bit and hopefully get most of our guys together on the ice. So I think I'm just taking it day by day, enjoying being back out there with the guys, and just kind of having fun with it.
The Flames also practiced Monday as the league deals with the coronavirus and players being absent from skates for various reasons. Matthew Tkachuk says exercise caution before jumping to conclusions that a player tested positive for COVID.
Guys block shots and miss a week with a foot. I wouldn't be, I know it's probably human nature that people are going to start speculating that, but I'm going to advise people don't over speculate, or don't do it for a good tweet, or don't do any of that stuff. There's plenty of stuff that happens in a hockey game.
The Canucks' first practice was overshadowed Monday by rumors that the team could be looking to trade Brock Bessie. GM Jim Benning shot down the reports, and Bessie was asked about the rumors after practice.
Has some options now.
I just had a chat with Jim, and he told me that he's not discuss anything with anyone about me possibly getting traded. I felt I've always been pretty honest with the media, and I feel like it's really unnecessary. Even the timing of the tweet too, I thought it was pretty questionable. Just a week before playoffs. Last time I checked, the trade deadline's not open, or trade deadline's passed, and no one can get traded right now. So, I think it's pretty unnecessary, especially when, we're all recorded here and, getting ready for playoffs and hopefully to make a deep run.
The Jay and Dan podcast is brand new wherever you get podcasts. It's brought to you by McDonald's. This week, two Johns, John Liu and Jonathan Torrens. They're both bringing the funny and the Habs news. I'll let you decide which one brought which. Who Delivered, presented by McDelivery, 1993. This date, All-Star Game. John Kruk wanted nothing to do with Randy Johnson. Nothing. Just wasn't happy being in the batter's box. And flipped his hat around. Yeah, he's a funny guy. Cracky. Good broadcaster, too. I messed up big time. I cleared my throat during the MLS promo. Sorry about that. Great haircut, though. See you tomorrow.